Hey, sync the video. Well, hey gang, Raj here with you. Hope you're doing well. I'm doing pretty well. I've got another 3 months with the cancer stuff. So NED, no evidence of disease, 3 months at a time. If you're new to the channel, I have part of my leg as my tongue. So some speech weirdness and occasionally spit on the camera. But look, today, check it. It's why you're here. It's why you're here. It's not really showing the colors so well on that, but that's okay. You've seen the pics. This is the Sonicake Pocket Master. A tiny, all-in-one guitar rig, I guess. Multi-effects processor, amp emulator. It does NAM profile playback, more or less. But I'm not going to cover that today. I will get into that. But I got this thing last night, literally. And here's the thing. Here's the takeaway. This is my 2 cents. It's very capable. I think you have the tools to come up with some good sounds. Now, obviously, I have my bag. I don't play high gain. I'm more of a soul kind of pop, I guess, bluesy. That's my bag, I guess. This is the app. So you install the app, you turn Bluetooth on the device. The device itself, as you can see, only has 3 buttons, right? You have 2 USB ports. I'm assuming one is for power only. I'm in the USB. You're hearing the guitar via this USB port. So you can use that as an interface, And that's what I'm doing. It's 44.1 sample rate. So either have to do a drift thing or set your session to 44.1, or don't use that. Use a stereo. It's a stereo 1/4 inch output which powers headphones, or we'll do a stereo or mono audio output and the guitar input. Those are the only connections. I don't know how long the battery lasts, but I played it for several hours last night out of the box without charging it. Not wise. And it lasted. It still had a couple bars this morning. So I assume 4 or 5 hours at least. But that's an assumption. I'm here mostly to talk about how I got the sounds I like. So I've set up maybe 7 patches, right? And I'm going to show you. I'm going to go through those patches right now. So, by the way, you can use this on the ground as a foot switch. I wouldn't say it's the most durable thing in the world, but it's pretty solid. We'll start with this Bassman Clean. This is a patch I created, and I'll go through the various blocks. So I have everything turned off by default. The amp block is here. This is one of 2 Bassman that this thing has in it. One is under clean, one is under drive. This is under drive. It doesn't have much drive. It's the cleanest of the drive amps. And this isn't terribly different than what I would do on a lot of other models. I would probably roll off quite a bit of bass. And, it's pretty solid. There's not a ton of options. You have presence, volume, bass, middle, treble. So all of the big tools. Then you have an IR block. I just quickly went through. These are all stock. I haven't, like I said, I haven't done any of the NAM stuff. I haven't done any imports of my own IRs. This is the Vibrolux 112 they have in there. And this is the clean. So there's a hair of breakup on there. EQ block, critical. Most processors have this, but most of the clean stuff that I have demoed, both through a PA speaker that was flat and then my studio monitors and some headphones. Most of them are a little bit tubby, need a little bit of roll off in the low end. Again, not really unusual. I think a lot of even high dollar processors have this. So this is on this Strat, which you might know from other videos, and that was all in the neck position. Here's neck and middle. And I guess the only other thing I didn't cover was the reverb I'm using on this particular patch. This plate 2. There's a couple plates. All this stuff is, if you've ever done anything in this modeling world, this is all, it will all be second nature. If you haven't, it may take, half an hour to get comfortable. Oh, pneumatic seats. And as you're going through this, when you have options on a certain thing, like this drop down, my reverbs, I can audition different verbs. That's actually a really nice room here in my room. But until you hit the OK button, which you can't see distressingly at the bottom of that window. I don't know why she swallowed that fly. I don't know why you can't see it in my window. That's not my main job. But underneath, underneath, how can I point at this? Underneath that, there's an OK button for you to... All kinds of video failures today. Hi, how are you? Focus. No? All right, fair enough. There we go. There's an OK button. Until you hit that OK button, you're not committed. You haven't made any changes. So I'm going to X out, also not on the screen. And there it is. So you can barely see in these icons at the bottom of the screen. You have your effects. You have something that says settings. And within settings, you have an input level. And that I've left mine at 0, but I have experimented with this and check it out. So, it responds pretty well depending on what you've got going on. And it's nice to have that, that they included that for $65 or whatever this thing cost. Exceptionally cheap for what it does. Anyway, so if you're going between guitars that have, different output levels, and this could be a lifesaver if you were on a gig. So back to this. So that's my vanilla. That's the money maker. So off of that, I'm going to scroll through a couple different things. Here's a Bassman tremolo. More or less the same thing with trim. Maybe a slightly different reverb setting. But built much in the same way. And I basically what I'll do on these things, and this is just everybody has their own thing, right? But I'll get my clean, so I'm back to my Bassman clean. And since I'm going through USB, I can look at my input levels in Logic and see how that patch is hitting the system and know kind of how much headroom I have before I start clipping the physical outputs. And this puts me in a pretty comfortable position. So can't show you that right now because, again, I have problems with my setup today, kids. But I'm peaking out on that channel around -10, so totally fine. And it gives me a little bit of headroom for coming patches. So moving up from there, it's the same basic amp settings. So let me show you the amp settings. I'm going to go from the Bassman clean, and this is going to be a boost. So there's a boost pedal. It's available aside from the drive. You can see that the drive in this little window here, the drive, the amp, and the IR and the EQ are all kind of contained. Now, I don't think you can change that. You can see the bracketed dashed line around them. That's a bit of a drag. It'd be nice if you could separate those, but I think that box indicates that you can't. The rest of the effects you can move around, which is helpful. Again, weigh your expectations against the cost and the performance. So I think it's a pretty nice sound. Just a basic boost, just slightly, getting a little bit more into the edge of breakup. And I've made, there are changes beyond just that pedal, right? So I'm gonna go back to the clean. This is the amp setting, and you can see I took a little bit of bass off, took a tiny bit of middle and treble off as well. And there are probably some other factors that I changed in the IR. So here's my clean. You can tell my preset volume on my clean versus my preset volume and IR volumes. They both change. Now, that's probably not best. That's not best practice, right? I would probably try to leave my preset volume the same on both of those and just adjust the volume of the IR. But I've had it for 12 hours, so you have to forgive me. I'm just trying to get to the same. Kind of guessing what the level would be. If I was taking this out on a gig and I had a rehearsal all the time, I would obviously try to dial that in with the band. But I can tell even now in this room, even though I scaled some of that low end off, I probably need to take even a bit more off on this 100 hertz. And so yeah, and then there's that little disc icon for those of you who don't know what the heck that thing is, right next to the preset volume, the 70. That's a picture of a floppy disk, kids. So I hit that button on my phone, and then that second window came up, saved it, done. So from here, I'm just going up gain levels, right? So I've got this boost, and then this is, I'm sorry, I skipped one. Boost, the one I was just on was the Tube Screamer setting. So you can see my drive is in. And this is the, OD Scream. I think we know what that is. Tube Screamer. And I'm actually just using that more of a boost as well, but that the Tube Screamer as well as this plug-in effect, whatever you want to call it, even at zero gain, when you add a little volume, it starts to do some cool things, and I think that sounds good. And then up from there. So this is Scream plus Boost. So Bassman, Scream, Boost. You are limited to the number of characters in the names, which I'm going to have to rethink my character naming for this. By the way, I have the noise reduction turned off on all these patches because I don't like it. If you're playing high gain stuff, you obviously need it. And obviously, if you listen close, there's noise. That's what that's for. Or moving your instrument and hitting your microphone. Anyway, whatever you need to do to get the sound that's in your head or on the record or whatever, focus. So anyway, this is Tube Screamer plus the boost, and sounds like this. Cleans up okay with the volume knob. I think that's fairly respectable. seeing as how I couldn't buy a Tube Screamer, probably decent clone for as much as this little guy. And then second Tube Screamer setting, let's see what the change was. I don't know what the changes that I made between these two guys were. I think it's just more. Maybe not. Oh, yeah. So this is the first one, and you can see I brought the gain up quite a bit, but I did disengage the boost, so, you know, again, I'm just finding my way. A little more biting, you know. And that's probably as much gain as I ever use myself. I've checked out some of the, there's only one other overdrive pedal, right? So if I go into that guy, this is this butter. A little more rock. So anyway, I'm gonna X out of that, and it doesn't commit, doesn't save. I'm able to audition, which is actually super cool. And maybe when I want, how many Helix Stadium XLs can I, or how many of these can I buy for the cost of one Helix Stadium XL? Do the math. First person that gets it right wins absolutely nothing. Anyway. And by the way, I'm gonna totally get the stadium. And then from there, I think that was my last basement, and I started messing around with the Vox that they have, and that's this. So, you know, it's a very similar sound because I don't care if something mimics an amp. I don't know if y'all care about that too terribly much. I just want the sound, and so that sounds a lot like probably the basement with the boost on it because I set it up. But you know, it's got a slightly different flavor. Definitely a different breakup, and whether that's Vox or not, I don't. You know, it sounds kind of Voxy. I don't have a AC30 behind me to check that out with, but I think it sounds pretty good. But check this out. You have to keep in mind, look at how low the gain setting is on that amp. That's something I think they can improve. I think that's I don't know what they're modeling. I have no insight into this. I just wanted to play some sounds, but I suspect they could do a better job with that particular thing. Gosh, focus. I don't have the light on because I'm not in the mood, kids. I'm not in the mood for lights in my face. I think they can do a better job with that on these drive amps. Some of these boxes, sometimes the cheaper ones, spend a lot of time with high gain models and settings and things like that, which, you know, maybe that's where they're getting their money. Maybe that's how they're selling stuff. But that seems... This is just a regular Strat in terms of the output pickup, so it seems like I wouldn't have to be at 6 out of 100, and you can see how quickly that gains up. Way more quickly than a real Vox. So I'm gonna leave and come back to that so my settings don't get messed up. I think I did one more. It's a slightly thinner sounding. I didn't see a lot of videos with folks playing that kind of, you know, Fender-y, edge-of-breakup type of a thing. And it's back to my basement boost. I think it does a good job. That's all I wanted to say. Is it for? I think I saw them as cheap as $55. For $55, you too can have a very workable guitar rig. It's insane. Like literally, I can't remember how much this guitar cost. I did a video where I think I profiled everything, but I mean, honestly, man, for a couple hundred, let's say $300 just to be safe, you could have a decent enough guitar after a setup, a cable, and this guy, and you can play a gig. You can play a gig. You can do it. I believe in you. Hope you guys are doing well. Take care of each other. I'll see you soon.